Hughes in here. We've been interviewing her. I'm sure you've been listening in rapt
Riveting.
attention.
Riveting. You can't turn this off. This is so interesting.
Yes, it is. Yes, I like it. I'm learning a lot.
I bet.
And you're getting the inside feel of how the station came about. For those of you who didn't know, how Linda and Tyrone came in possession of it, what their mission statement is. And before we continue, I want to encourage you to visit Dr. Travis Sterner if you're looking for a family dentist. Dr. Sterner's on Barker Road in Whitmore Lake, and you can find more about them at sternerfamilydental.com. Enhancing your health and your smile through the science and art of dentistry. So if you're looking for a dentist, please think of Dr. Sterner in Whitmore Lake. He's an advertiser in the Current, and I appreciate that. So, continuing on with Linda. So now you own a radio station. Mm-hmm. Your mission is this chair
for better, for worse. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Your mission statement is
Save America.
Save America.
Save America.
That's
Without
right.
the A. Yeah.
And along with that mission statement, incorporated in that mission statement, is an emphasis on your Christian service.
Right.
Okay.
I like to tell people we're not a Christian station per se, and that we get all the tax breaks, but just about everybody here is a pretty deep Christian. Not everybody, but most people are. It's a nice environment to work in.
A couple of years ago, I called into your show when you had Drake on as your co-host frequently, and I remarked that your show was a piece of Americana, and that Americana.
I remember that call.
Yeah, and Americana has the culture of America, and part of the culture of America is its religious heritage.
Right.
And so I like to think that we like to promote that culture in America, one that's conservative in politics, although it also has its liberal. Let's not forget there were liberals, of course, in American history, but they're not who we want to emulate. And we have a caller, but I don't know who it is yet, so we'll just wait on that. And so part of that is our Christian heritage and the promotion of that Christian heritage, because we know historically the Founding Fathers based this country on their Christian heritage. And so consequently, I believe that there are attacks on those, and of a spiritual nature, on those who have a Christian outlook and a prominent voice in the community. And I think you and Tyrone fill that bill.
Yeah, I'll second that theory.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
believe so.
some of it you see forthright, right?
Right.
And some of it you don't see forthright, but you see it secondhand.
Right.
Now, we're about to take a very important caller.
Uh-oh.
All right, it's the boss.
I am the boss. You're looking at the boss, so
it's the
could
boss's
this be
other...
the boss's other boss.
Minion.
I love that. And I love, too, when we put notes up around here, everybody says, this note's from Tyrone, as if a note from me can't be taken seriously in this building.
Okay, well, let's see what he has to say.
Let's see what he's got to say.
Hey, Tyrone.
Hey, I just wanted to point out that, and don't you dare go into my office. People will get shot if they go in there. But on the big, huge board on the wall, the mission statement clearly says, mission statement. It has a huge dollar sign with an arrow pointing toward get some, exclamation point. So that's where Lynn and I part company in mission statements, but we both have the same basic mission statement.
Okay, well, that's good. Any replies?
That's funny.
That's all I got.
All right, brother. Thanks for calling in, Tyrone.
And Linda, thank you for everything you do at WHAM. You are truly, truly a warrior princess.
I learned from the best.
Love you madly. See you. Bye.
Love you too. Love you too. Hey, I got to tell a little backstory of that because that's pretty funny. There's a giant chalkboard in Tyrone's office, which used to be the sales manager's office. And of course, as you know, in any kind of business, you have like 3-hour sales meetings and intricate plans for, so there was literally on this chalkboard just billions and billions of little phrases of how we're going to do it. So when we bought the station, the first thing I did was we erased all of the plans for success, and Tyrone drew a big dollar sign with an arrow pointing to it and said, get some. That's our sale. Because that was the sales office. That was like, here's our sales plan.
Yep.
Sell.
Have you ever read the book,
Sell.
The Goal?
No.
Oh, it's a business book. It's really good. And basically this guy goes through, it's almost like it's like a novel, but it's a business book. And this guy, he's thrown into the role of being a plant manager. And then was the maintenance manager, so I feel for him because I've done both. And they say, okay, the good news is you're the plant manager. The bad news is things don't pick up in 6 months. We're closing the plant. And so he goes through this thing where he's learning, and he meets this guy who is his college professor in economics at an airport. And he's talking to him, tells him what's going. The guy says, well, you got to know what the goal is. He said, what is the goal? Oh, you work it out. So he gives his counseling, it's almost like his guru, and basically the goal is to make money.
Right.
That's the goal. You've got to make
That's
money.
every business's goal.
Yeah, everything
but you
else
have to do it in a respectful...
How you do it is...
Right, exactly.
Yes, how you do it's important. But if you don't hit that goal, you're not going to be doing the other stuff.
And both sides of that are important. You have to have a mission statement. What underlying, what do you want to do? But if you're not successful monetarily, you have nothing to do your goal with. So you can have all the missions you want.
Advertisers.
Right.
You can't have content without advertisers.
Exactly. And people... I think our listeners know how important our advertisers are.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that I walk into Muriel's Dollhouse and they both, just instantly start talking about their own, and then they're both now patients of Dr. Singleton. It was hilarious. I mean, people get that they have to support our people.
Right. Well, I want to move on to this topic of basically attacks, both spiritual and the other word is temporal, of this earth,
right?
On you and Theron. And you announced a couple weeks ago to our audience that you had a recurrence of cancer in your life.
Yep.
And I actually think that that's part of a spiritual attack on your mission and work here.
Oh,
and
I agree.
I would like to encourage all our listeners and any people who aren't our listeners that they hold you in prayer. And perhaps you'd like to give an update on your treatment. Would that be all right?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I think I mentioned before that this is my second time around. The first time was about a month after Theron and I got married, back in 2005. Breast cancer for the first time. 12 years later, a recurrence. And things are going very well. I'm on a new kind of experimental drug. But
is there a name for that drug?
TDM1.
Okay.
TDM1 is specifically for my type of breast cancer. But I hate to say, this sounds kind of weird, but if you're going to have cancer in your lifetime, now's a really good time because literally every day, more than once a day, there's something coming out that they are so on the verge of getting to the bottom of a lot of this stuff, and that they can go in now and turn off certain genes. They can totally map your your genomic pattern. Something new this week out of Sloan Kettering, where they 42 different types of, and I can't even keep you can't even keep it all straight. The information's coming so fast. So I'm very encouraged about all that. But I felt early on in this that God, through different things we don't have time to get into, but was telling me, this is not my time. If it's my time, I'm ready. But he has more work for me to do here. And it's not going to be because one of the biggest things when you get an illness like this, you feel like it's all on you to find the cure. You got to find the right doctor, and to some extent that's true. You got to be your own advocate, your own researcher, but the healing's going to come from God. And it's not like he says, I was going to heal you, Linda, but you didn't find this blah, blah, blah over here, and you didn't do this supplement, you didn't do this, so
I gave you
sorry.
clues.
Right. So you have
to,
exactly. So you have to realize that your healing is going to come from the Lord, but he gave us doctors, he gave us the medicine, he gave us his creation, which is full of the food and the supplements and the things that we need to fight off the cancer, because most people's bodies, their immune system's strong enough to fight it. So you have to find out why yours isn't. So that's basically
okay.
It is just realizing not to panic over finding the exact thing that you need, that God is directing this. And there's a 3-hour story in that, but God is definitely in charge of me, my illness, my life, the mission here at WHAM, everything that we have been doing. He's led us through every piece of it wonderfully.
Well, part of the encouragement I wanted to give you was, for instance, last Sunday at our church, we had a speaker come in from Saline. And her name was
my hometown.
Yeah, there you go, Beth Madison. And she gave her testimony of the healing that she got, the delivery that she got from cancer, 100%. What do you call it on level 4?
Stage 4.
Stage 4, yes.
Great.
And my pastor's father, he had stage 4, I believe, was kidney cancer, and he was delivered miraculously.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he had help from the doctors, but the doctors were surprised too.
Oh, they always are. Yeah.
I heard somebody telling a story not too long ago, and she said that when she first became a doctor, they had a patient come in, and they gave him chemotherapy, and it didn't heal him, and they sent him home. 2 years later, he came back cancer-free, and they couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
And so they all said, "Oh, the chemo must have kicked in after all that time."
Right.
And she says, "I can't believe this." 30 years later, she says, "I can't believe how we could blind ourselves to that when it's clear it was an answer to prayer, and we didn't want to listen to it."
Exactly.
Yeah. And so once again, I want to encourage all our listeners. I think it's very important that we hold Linda before the Lord and Therone and the fate of this station and consequently the fate of the nation, because their mission
I
is
love
to
that.
save
Do
America.
not bring this country to an end. Support Linda and Therone and Wham Radio.
There you go.
That is great. And I will say this, I know we're going to take off here, but if Therone's line, and he uses it all the time, which I love, none of us are getting out of here alive.
That's right.
So the bottom line is, it may not be my time to go yet, but one day it will be. And it might not be your time to go yet, but one day it will be. So make sure that you've got your relationship with the Lord intact, because the good news is God wins in the end. We know the end of the story. We've all read the book. Yep. And so it's a good ending. For those who are prepared. Right. It's a good ending for all of us if we know what the story is. So, just make sure that you're ready.
When I go, I want to go peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather, not like the occupants of his car.
Yeah. Another Therone joke. That's great.
All righty then. So now we want to move on. We've asked Bob Young to call in. Oh, we have Colin. Colin, we appreciate your call with well wishes for Linda.
Thank you, Colin.
We can't take that right now. We've got Bob Young calling in with an update on his campaign.
See, you got bumped too, Colin. How does it feel? We're all for you, though, Bob.
Let's bring Bob on. Bob, I got the right line? Maybe not. Okay, let's try. Well, that was supposed to be line 1, Bob Young. Did I hang up? Oh, I hit the wrong button. Let's talk to Colin.
Did you hang up on the great Bob Young?
My goodness. Hi, Colin. Nice to talk to you.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm Linda. You and I have met a couple of times. I'm an old friend of Therone's. We go back for many years, decades actually. And I was just moved to hear that your cancer recurred, and I'm just so sorry about that. I just wanted to call and wish you well, and so you are in my thoughts and prayers.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, Colin, and hopefully you listen in occasionally and you can hear some updates. And
okay,
I think
Colin,
we're
nice
moving in a
you.
good direction. But thanks so much. I really do appreciate that. And I'll tell Therone you said hi.
Oh, thank you so much. All right.
All right, great.
Thanks.
Now let's see if I can press the right button and get Bob Young on the line.
Good afternoon.
There we
How
go,
are you?
Bob. I guess that was the hang-up button.
Welcome to the Linda Show, Bob.
Okay, good morning. Hi, good afternoon. Thank you.
So, Bob, good to have you back. And our callers will remember, I'm sure our callers will remember the interviews that we did with you, the 2 previous interviews we did with you with the biographics. Of course, to update you, Bob is the former Chief Justice of the Michigan Supreme Court. Excellent conservative, constitutionalist. He's campaigning for the seat currently occupied by the Democratic infidel. Carry on, Bob.
And Bob has a great sense of humor.
Yeah, I should carry you with me on the campaign trail. You do a better job than I do. Yes, well, good afternoon, and thank you for having me back on the show. I'm happy always to visit with you.
Good.
It's been a great week. We had endorsement from Ted Nugent, and Debbie Stabenow got cat scratch fever, attacked me, and tried to use that endorsement as a way of getting fundraising.
Well, I can see how that might work for her.
Well, the infidels, those of us who are in the basket of deplorables, are worthy of being feared by Debbie Stabenow.
Okay.
And So we're having I'm just enjoying going out and talking with folks about what's been happening in our country, why people like Debbie Stabenow